Hi, my name is Justine, and I am the coordinator and host of the Save the Crafty YouTuber event. The Save the YouTuber event was put together in order to help out the many crafters that are affected by new YouTube rules that require a certain number of views and subscribers in order to earn money. Although this doesn't affect me, myself, some of my favorite crafters, companies, and many newbie YouTube video makers have come together to help those in need and to bring you, the audience, some amazing new tutorials from artists you may have never seen before. After you're finished watching my video, you can click the link in the video description below to check out the next person on the list. The more videos you watch and comment on, the better your chances are to win one out of over 120 prizes. I'll go into more detail at the end of the video, and my blog will sort of be the hub where you can go to for more information. So let's move on to the video tutorial. I created 3 cards today, and I'm doing some monogram cards that you could use for any occasion, but I'm specifically focusing on a love-themed card. So I'm going to be using this Hearts Turnabout stamp from Concord and 9th, and I'm going to show you how to use a turnabout stamp as well, since a lot of people are really unsure. So all you need to do is you just need to remove the backing and everything off of the stamp, so it's a regular clear stamp. And you're just going to need to line it up according to the diagram on the back of the stamp set. It comes with it, and you can also download one and print one out from their website as well. So as you can see here, the hearts need to line up, and they're always in the very center, the ones that you need to line up. And you'll see where there's an X across on the image here, and that's going to be your middle point. So you're just going to grab a permanent marker or a pen on the back of the stamp, and I'm going to grab my ruler here. I'm going to actually make an X instead of just making one single center point. Make sure they line up exactly. That's the main point with these turnabout stamps, is that they really need to be exact when you're doing this step here, or else you're going to get images that don't line up entirely. So I'm just going to show you some of the other ones that are available from Concord and 9th. For example, you have a thank you one, there's a hello one, there's Christmas themed and birthday sprinkles and all sorts of different kinds that are available, as well as a really small dahlia one that is absolutely stunning. So I'm just going to slip these into my MISTI stamping tool. The original size works best for this type of stamping. And you can see that I created a template here. This is from a 6x6 piece of cardstock. I have made an X using a ruler from one corner to the other diagonally to make a cross, or an X across my template. So you can laminate this and then use it every time. I don't mind if mine gets inky, so I didn't laminate it. And now I have a place where I can line up my stamp with the template. Why create a template? Because it's easier to actually figure out where your stamp needs to go with the center point. Now, you can create a 6x6 piece of paper, and you can stamp all over that. But if you want to create a card panel, you probably don't want it to be 6x6. So I grabbed a 4x5 1/4, and I'm going to grab some removable adhesive. This is a non-permanent tape runner from Tombow Mono, and I am going to be laying that on top of my template, so it's not going to move. This is important if you don't want to use a 6x6 piece of paper while stamping. So now it's adhered to a 6x6 template, and I'm ready to go. So I'm going to ink up my stamp now using some Catherine Pooler ink. I'm using the color It's a Girl, and I'm just going to stamp it like I would any other stamp. So I'm just going to ink up my stamp entirely, close the MISTI stamping tool, and then I'm going to put my hands firmly over top it to stamp it down, and it's going to stamp a simple pink layer of hearts. Now this is how a turnabout stamp works. So after you finish stamping, you are going to turn the cardstock around, and you are going to rotate it 90 degrees, and then you're going to ink it up with the next color, and you're going to stamp it down. Then you're going to rotate it 90 degrees, and you do this 4 times until you're satisfied. So you're stamping, the stamp stays in the same position each time, but you're rotating your cardstock each time so that it stamps in a different area, and you're going to create this entire heart paneled background that creates just such a beautiful background. So the colors I used on this combination are It's a Girl, Sweet 16, Party Dress, and Pixie Dust, so a combination of pinks and purples. I do want to show you one way though that you can actually spice it up a little bit than just having 4 simple colors. But before we do that, I'm going to show you what the panel actually looks like when you take it off of the stamping tool. Okay, so to spice things up a little bit, I'm going to be stamping using some Versamark ink, and I'm going to be stamping this onto a fresh card panel here because I'm going to be making the second one. So same thing as before, I'm just simply stamping, and Versamark is a clear ink, so I'm going to be adding a little bit of silver embossing powder on top, and I'm going to emboss my first layer instead of just doing plain stamping all over. So I grab my silver embossing powder and pour it over top of the panel. Be sure to leave the panel on top of your template though, because you don't want it to get out of line. And I'm going to use my heat tool now to melt the embossing powder. So at the moment it looks like a gray sandy substance, and then when you melt it, it'll turn into a silver metallic, and that's how you know you're done heating it up. So once I finished all that, I had my first layer already done in an embossed look. Now all I need to do is rotate my cardstock and then continue stamping with the regular colors. I used the same colors as before, but I did remove one of them. I refilled my ink pads as well. Just a little tip, if you're getting pools in your ink pad because you just refilled them, it's probably because all the ink's sitting in one spot. So if you grab a credit card or your bone folder and you just scratch sort of over the surface and smooth out the ink kind of like you were buttering toast, that'll actually get that out of there. So I'm going ahead and stamping all of the colors, same as before, so I'm going quite quickly, but I'm rotating each time to get the background, and now you have this beautiful embossed look. I'm now going to set my backgrounds off to the side, and I'm going to be using these monogram stamps from Concord and 9th. They come in all 26 letters, and they all have a really pretty saying and things like florals to go on the insides. So they're a really affordable option, and when the monograms are measured, they're 3 by 3 1/4, so they're a small stamp set. I'm going to go ahead and stamp out 2 J's and 2 L's for my cards because I'm going to be making a Valentine's Day card for my significant other as well as some other card ideas. So I'm just going to stamp this a couple of times to season it up. If you don't have a stamping tool to stamp multiple times in the same spot, just be sure to take the stamp and stamp it a few times on some scrap paper to oil it up and get it ready to go. Get rid of some of those residues that might be on there from manufacturing, and it should stamp perfectly every time. After you finish stamping, your MISTI might be quite dirty at this point, but don't worry, I recommend a Novus 2 cleaner. You'll see me put it on here and clean up my stamping area, and it works just fine. Also for those fingers, if your fingers are all dirty, don't fret about getting fingerprints. Just use a stamp scrubby and you can see my before and after hands. So I totally recommend those to any beginner crafter because getting fingerprints on your projects is something I do all the time, and it's always a pain in the butt. So once my monograms are printed, each of the monograms actually comes with coordinating florals and leaves that you can stamp in the center of the letters. Now what's really cool is all the leaves are all grouped together, so you don't have to worry about finicking and trying to fit all 3 of them in there. They come as one solid, and then you just need to stamp the flowers. The nice thing as well is that they don't overlap each other, so you don't have to worry about masking or anything like that. I do want to mention though that they do come with coordinating dies, so you might be able to cut some of those out actually and put them onto your card. So once I have everything set up on both the L and the J, I decided to use some party colors and some subtle colors to stamp each one of these, and you're in warp speed because it really is just simple stamping. So once all my letters are finished, I'm good to go. Then I can move on finally to the dies. So I wanted to show you the dies. They come with a regular rectangle that leaves a white outline around the letters, so it's big enough. And then you also have a stitched outline that cuts inside the black, so you can cut it down a little bit. And you'll see there's some of the flowers that you can cut out. And you also have this banner on the left that you can use to coordinate with all the letters because they come with these L is for lovely, J is for just because, and it'll fit those sentiments. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of my die cutting now. I'm going to be cutting 2 of the letters using the frame that allows the white space around it, and 2 of my letters that allows the stitched really close cut into the black ink. So after I'm finished die cutting all 4 of these letters here, as you can see, I'm also skipping parts so that it's just a time saver. You don't need to see me cut these out 4 times. I'm going to just put all of my pieces together so I have all my backgrounds as well as all of the monogrammed letters. You can see that I put an LJ there for my Valentine's Day card for my partner, and then I'm just going to create a J and an L just for just because cards, and L is for lovely. And I'm just taking a block and stamping the sentiments onto the banner using some black ink. I'm also going to be mounting them using some foam, just so they kind of stick out a little bit on top of the backgrounds before I glue everything together. Okay, so off screen I went ahead and I glued everything there together, and I'm going to go ahead and mount these onto some card bases. My card bases measure 11 by 4 1/4, and they're folded in half to make a top folding card. And after they are all finished, that is the end of my tutorial. So you can get a final look at the cards here and some photos, as well as I'll go through and show you each individual one. I hope you enjoyed this card tutorial. Please do not forget to leave a comment. I am giving away $25 to Simon Says Stamp on my personal YouTube channel here, as well as 2 inks to an American resident for Catherine Pooler's inks that I used in this video. And I'm giving away a Creativation pack, so some of the samples that I got at Creativation Workshop, so they're not even available in stores yet. So be sure to leave a comment for a chance to win all 3 of those prizes. There are also many prizes being given away throughout the hop, so don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment on each one of the videos so that you get a chance at each stop to win prizes. You do not have to watch all of the videos. There are over 55. However, maybe you'll be introduced to your next favorite card maker. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks so much for joining, everyone. It was so lovely to have you here.